Now, this is the personal finance segment. Money disorders is an umbrella term for recurring and self-defeating issues that people have with money. This is according to Brad Klontz, author of Mind Over Money and co-founder of the Financial Psychology Institute. Now we continue our discussion on signs and symptoms of money disorder with Charles Farquhar, who is right here to help us with that. I like that, signs and symptoms of money disorder. So as we have signs and symptoms of malaria, typhoid, tuberculosis, we also have signs and symptoms of money disorder. Interesting. But firstly, good morning and welcome to the show.
Morning, Margaret.
Good morning.
Morning, Samson. Yes, you were not here yesterday. We started
that.
Yeah,
but
yes.
I watched it, of course, so I didn't know it.
Yes, it's interesting. But you can see that how this morning is so fresh and beautiful. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm. Somebody was complaining to me that he was drenched by the rain. Mm-hmm. I said, see it as blessings, abundance from on high. Mm-hmm. You know, you see, Mother Nature is too good to everybody. Mm. Whatever Mother Nature has done is for our own good, no matter anything. But you can see in Pakistan now, flood has killed over 8,000 persons. Even in just here in Jigawa. But there are some places where they are happy that it has rained. Will you now say Mother Nature is wrong? Mother Nature is never wrong. It is me and you that we're always distorting the balance in Mother Nature. And that's why we're having money disorders. Okay. According to this doctor, you know, he classified money disorder into 3. He said you have the ones, you talk of money avoidance. Okay. Like we said yesterday, you know, you just deny money.
Financial denial.
Yes. Then he also said money worship. Some people worship money. And they have now equated money with their self-worth. The more money they have in the bank account, the more confident they become. And when that money is taken away from them, they are worthless. But a real wealthy man is a man that after you take all the money away from him, is still worth $1 million. That is a wealthy human being. This doctor also classify money disorders. The last one, they said relational money disorders, because it now affect your relationship with your spouse, family members, and every other person. So we have looked at some of the signs and symptoms. Yes. Today, we are going to continue with that. And I am very, very sure by the grace of God, maybe by Friday, we'll begin to look at the treatment. You know, how to manage this money disorder. I also said here that it has not been classified as a disease from the psychiatrists and the psychologists, but they are saying if you have it, probably there could be an underlying psychological disorder. And if you look at it, most persons that have debts, you know, to pay, are more likely to have mental issues. Yes, because they worry so much. And if you worry so much, you can't perform in your job. If you worry so much, it will affect your health. So it is good for us to understand the basis of some of these money issues. But before I start with the signs and symptoms, to continue, let us take one more quote. Money is like manure. If you don't spread it, it will smell. So you need to spread money. And what I mean by spreading money, not just accumulating your savings, you need to invest it so that it will not smell. Some persons have also told me that if money speaks, they need a hearing aid because they want to hear money speak to them. So let's get to the signs and symptoms today. Okay. We have seen financial denial, rejection. We've also seen extreme underspending, taking excessive risks and not taking risks at all. Yeah. Next one we'll consider will be some persons, they overwork themselves because of money. We call them workaholism. Don't mix them with those who, because of they need to meet up, they do extra work because they want to meet up. But there are some, they've met all their basic requirements. They have money. But because they have this disorder, they just want to keep working. Some persons don't even need to do overtime. But because of this their disorder, they say, okay, just because they just be accumulating more money, just keep accumulating, keep accumulating. It's a money disorder. Would you respect one of our former head of state? 22 years after his death, he's still sending us money from the grave. We should clap for him. Somebody have said probably they use him for money rituals. But I don't believe whether those kind of things even occur, because we have seen how you can create wealth. But again, how do you classify that? Is it not a money disorder? Somebody keeps acquiring, and today, what has happened? So it is not good for us to have money disorder.
Okay.
So
Just before, we're trying to also ensure that our viewers are informed about, all of these signs and symptoms. So before you continue with the symptoms, when you say excessive overwork of themselves as a result of acquiring money, that those who will tell you that it's, that seemingly disorder stems from, the compulsion to just avoid it, something that running away from their past, maybe poverty or what have you. They've had some terrible experiences and they just feel they need to do more to acquire more so that they do not have a devastating, fallback. For example, someone who was relatively comfortable and was within his or her own means, and then probably due to a bad investment or what have you, got duped and had to start from the very scratch. Such a person, as a result of that, terrible experience, can decide to now continue to acquire in that sense. As you've said, it's almost a thin line between being hardworking and being a workaholic in this sense. But that those who would come up with that legitimate, argument that it's not necessarily a disorder, they're just trying to prevent, some sort of deja vu from occurring.
I agree with you, but again, you have just said it. Working hard and a workaholic. When you are a workaholic, it affects your relationship. But if you are working hard, you can still create that balance with your relationship, with your family. But a workaholic, have you not seen somebody who worked so much, acquired so much, and when he came home, the wife has left with the children because he's never at home? Would you say that is working hard? That's a workaholic. So there needs to be a balance. Like I said, you work. Maybe what you have been paid regularly is not enough. You do extra work to meet up. But these persons, they already have enough. They are just using that work to cover up. And that is why it's a disorder.
Okay.
That is it. That's the distinction between them. So the next one we'll consider is compulsive expenditure. Just like you have what psychologists will call excessive compulsive disorder. These ones, at any point in time, when they are feeling down, is to go and buy something. Is to go and buy something.
Just shop.
Just shop. And after that, some people have even called them shopaholic. After that, just a few minutes, they get that satisfaction. Before you know what, they are back to their original mood. So we say it's also a disorder. You see, this is our brain. There are happy hormones. Once they go and shop, their brain secretes, there's an hormone they call dopamine, oxytocin, endorphin. Just like the drug addict. Once they take it, they feel high. The same thing, once he or she goes to shop, they feel high, they are cool. After a few minutes, they are back to the same problem again. And that's why we encourage them that they should not be ashamed. They should talk to their financial planners or their counselors, because we have said we have counselors who have been trained in finance now. I also have financial planners who have been trained in therapy and counselors. They can talk to you. You come to therapy, and of course, you will get some reprieve. The next one we'll consider is addictive gambling. Well, don't get me wrong. I don't understand what they're doing in this sport betting. They say it's legal. But gambling, addictive gambling. You see some persons, they borrow money just to keep gambling because they feel like one day they will hit the numbers. And at the detriment of your well-being. Will you say that is normal? It's a money disorder. I don't mind if you take your own money to gamble, but don't come and ask other persons for financial help.
Just to gamble.
Just to gamble. So it is the same thing. And like I said yesterday, if you treat money like a drug, you have become the addict. Yes, you have become the addict. So that's another symptom again that you begin to know that yes, there is a money disorder. We also look at financial infidelity. Yes, I came across this symptom during my work as a stockbroker, because most times you talk to people about investment and they will tell you these shares I'm buying, Mr. Charles, please, I don't want my husband to be aware. I have had that several times. Some have genuine reasons. Some will say, this thing I'm buying, this investment, don't allow my wife to be aware. If my wife knows that she's not the one in my will, something will happen, All this is a disorder. And we call that, just as you have infidelity in marriage, this is financial infidelity. You tell lies to your spouse based on your financial condition. No. If two have decided to stay together the rest of their lives, why hide about your finances to your spouse? You should come out openly. Fine, two of you have come from different backgrounds, different money personalities. Now that you are together, let your partner understand your own money personality and you two understand our own. Most of the time you say the men are the ones that spend so much. Women tend to conserve. So two of you should sit down together and say, okay, this is, if you spend so much, then you can come to an agreement that so much money should not be in his hand. It should be in the hands of the other spouse. So financial infidelity has been known to be one of the most issues when it comes to divorce. Because at the end of the day, you now discover that. In fact, there was one classic case we had that the man said he has been paying rent for over 15 years. And he got to know that the wife was his landlady, unknown to him. So all along, she has been telling lies about her financial status. And they said the man collapsed. So you can see.
Quickly to chip in,
Yes.
Is that really a money disorder in that sense, or a lack of trust between, both spouses?
Yes. Well, you know the definition of money disorder. If it
A recurring.
if it's just one-off, we won't classify it as a money disorder. We can say, okay, maybe money mistakes, maybe the distrust and all that. But if it's recurring, and you can even predict that this person is going to behave this way continuously, then, and it's also affecting your relationship, of course, it comes under money disorder. So the advice we give to spouse when they come for therapy is open up. Just as you want to get married, you do what they call the genotype, your blood and all that. We also say, speak out about your finances so that the other person will understand. And both of you will now know how to manage it when you start staying together. Though I'm not a marriage counselor, but in the course of doing this job, we've been able to meet so many young couples who are intending to get married, and of course those of them who are already married. In fact, I was invited to a youth fellowship. I don't attend that church, but I was invited to talk to the intending couples about marriage and finance. And I was amazed, listening to couples, intending couples, and you can see that people don't take their finances serious at all. And that program really opened their eyes to so many things, and they were very, very happy. It was supposed to be a pro bono, but before I was leaving, the GO of the church said no, because she listened and she said no.
Okay.
You understand? Okay, so that's a marriage, that's financial infidelity. Yes. The last one we'll consider is building extra hopes on financial luck.
Okay.
Some persons just want to keep playing the lottery. That is the only way they will make their money. I know that the chances of you winning the lottery is 1 over 1 million, even more than that. But they keep believing that, they will make it financially by luck. And we know that the goddess of luck does not favor those who don't take action. The goddess of luck favors men of action, men and women of action. So you can say you cannot base your financial improvement, your financial stability just on luck, and you are hoping that things will get better. It's not possible. You must face it, do something about it, learn so many things you want to learn about finances before you can begin to make progress when it comes to your finances.
That's quite expository, it must be said. For all of these, more often than not, it's always someone close by that understands, I think this person is suffering from this symptom or the other. Whoever the victim is doesn't even know he has such a disorder. But I know we talked about treatment, we'll delve into it fully, but just as we wrap up this conversation, for someone who has now discovered, that I'm suffering from this money disorder or the other one, how can such a person get help? I know you said there are financial, therapists now, but it's not like there are like hospitals you can easily locate. So how do folks, no, you never can tell who's watching,
Of course.
How do folks who probably as a result of this discussion have come to that awareness that, okay, it seems I'm battling with this, addiction or problem, how can they seek for help?
That's a very good question there, Samson. What you have just said now reflects general conditions in the country today. I remember if somebody is going to Yaba, they say it's Yaba left. I don't know what that means. What's that supposed to mean? Psychiatric hospital?
Yeah, by the left.
Nobody wants to go for therapy to see a psychiatrist say, you are mad already, But again, mental issues, mental health is just like your physical health. Like you said at the beginning, it's just like having malaria. You have signs and symptoms. When you go and see a doctor, the doctor will now diagnose. First of all, he will examine you. Then you now ask, okay, nurse, take sample. They take your sample, send to lab. Lab will now analyze, send the result back to the doctor. Doctor will now look at it and say, okay, you have malaria. They say maybe it's plus, or typhoid fever, this. Then he will now recommend. I say, okay, take this drug for this number of days. The same also applies to mental illness. That it is not a stigma. People don't want to say, in fact, some even very prominent people will lock up their child inside the house. Maybe their house, maybe drug issue or mental issue. They lock them inside. But that is not the solution that they require. They need to go for therapy. To shock you, if you go to some psychiatric hospital, they have a small unit where you have clinical psychologists and of course some psychiatrists, then some mental health practitioners who handles money issues. So this kind of money disorders, they are there.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. Yeah. You have a money rehab, just like you have drug rehab. But just that they are, like you said, they are not really common, but we have them today in some big psychiatric hospital. You have a clinical psychologist. When people come there, and they talk to you about your money.
That's great.
That's great. That's this notion when you hear the psychiatrist, you are assuming I'm not mad. Person. So why? But psychiatrics doesn't necessarily mean you have to be mad. I'm just understanding that there was a money rehab and money. What do you call it again?
Money therapy.
Money therapy. That's quite interesting. Well, that's a good place to wrap up this conversation. Hopefully, we continue some other time because we have a lot of things to talk about when it concerns financial help and financial signs and symptoms. Anything financial, money.
But I promise you, on Friday we should be able to look at the treatment.
Interesting. Okay. Well, thank you so much,
thank you very much
for joining us.
It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you too. Well, that was Charles Farquhar talking about is our personal financial segment. We've learned a lot of things. Now, go up next, we have the money motivation. We'll be right back.